Since the French railways were nationalised in 1938, all intercity and regional trains in the country have been run exclusively by the national railway SNCF. In 2025, that changed when Transdev took over express services from Nice to Marseille along the French Riviera to become the country's first private operator of non-high-speed trains. We'll be climbing aboard these brand new Omneo Premium units, looking at the improvements and the problems that came with this takeover. Now join me as the journey continues. Bienvenue à Gare de Nice-Ville, which, as the name suggests, is the main station serving the city of Nice along the French Riviera. Opened in 1864 and completed in 1867, it really is one of the most aesthetically pleasing stations on the French Riviera. And just wait until we get inside. Well, okay, so the main hall isn't exactly the largest, and it certainly doesn't handle the crowds of passengers well in the peak summer season when I travelled. But you will find everything you need here, ranging from supermarkets to ticketing facilities. I should probably mention that whilst our train to Marseille isn't operated by SNCF, you will still be able to buy tickets for it from them as it falls under the Zoo network in the Côte d'Azur region, which I'll come back to shortly. For now, we can see the service we're aiming to catch, the 10:25 to Marseille Saint-Charles, departing from platform Y. As is increasingly becoming the norm in France, access to the platforms is provided through automatic barriers, where you just need to scan the bar or QR code on your ticket to be let through. Despite the many remodels Nice-Ville has received since its inception, it's always maintained its stunning all stone sculptures and forged steel rooftop that make up the overall structure, including the gorgeous train shed, which is a real pleasure to look at. Almost all regularly scheduled services here are provided by the French National Railway SNCF, which includes local services along the French Riviera to Monaco and Ventimiglia in Italy, as well as local connections to Marseille and, of course, high-speed TGV services to Paris. As for our train today, well, it's not meant to be an SNCF train. It's actually operated by French private transport giant Transdev. This is a 6-car Bombardier Regio 2N built for the Auvergne-Rhône-Alpes region, and given how busy it's getting, let's just let it go for now and wait another hour for the train we're supposed to catch. We'll get into the reason why it's so far away from home shortly. And freshly arrived from Marseille, here it is. The brand new Z59000 Omneo Premium ordered by Transdev to operate on the Nice to Marseille TER route, absolutely packed with holidaymakers. This is an evolution of the Regio 2N designed for longer distance intercity work, with Transdev's 16 8-car 200 km/h capable units being built by Alstom between 2023 and 2025, with the first 8 entering service in time for the Transdev takeover on June 29, 2025. 2 weeks before this video was recorded. When Transdev was awarded the Nice to Marseille contract by Région Sud in 2021, it ordered these trains to replace the aging co-rail stock SNCF used on the line prior to Transdev's takeover of the route, with another contractual agreement being a frequency increase to hourly from the previous 2-hourly frequency. Consequently, Transdev had to hire SNCF's Omneo Premium and Regio 2N stock from other regions to deliver this increased frequency while certification of the remaining 8 units took place, with this being completed by now, meaning all trains on this line should now be these Z59000 units. These trains have the particularity of having double-decker vehicles as well as single-deck ones for doors on the non-driving vehicles. I have to say the livery on these trains, whilst a bit flashy, does look really nice when you see it in the flesh. But why don't you let me know your thoughts in the comments? The Nice to Marseille Express TER is one of the few TER routes to have first class accommodation in force, and this is indicated by the orange door in the driving vehicle, with level boarding being provided using an extended step, which aligns with the platform. Already a huge improvement to the co-rails. When you first enter the lead driving vehicle, you'll find several privacy pods with some standard class seating, and whilst these do look amazing, we need to go a bit further to find first class, which as you can see is in a 2x1 configuration with primarily airline style seating, but some bay seating too. This is better seen from the lower deck, which you may prefer if you can't handle the stairs or simply prefer it down there. Seat reservations aren't compulsory, and as I'm here before everybody else, I have my free choice of the seats. Let's go for this solo one here. We depart Nice on time at 11:25 as we head onwards along the French Riviera.
Bienvenue à bord de ce train Zou à destination de Marseille-Saint-Charles. Il desservira Nice-Saint-Augustin, Antibes, Cannes, Saint-Raphaël-Valescure, les Arcs Draguignan, Toulon, Marseille-Saint-Charles.
As we travel through the suburbs of Nice, we run alongside the M6098 as well as the beautiful coastline of the French Riviera. Around 5 minutes later, we pass the original site of Nice-Saint-Augustin station, which closed at the end of August 2022 and was replaced in September 2022 with the new station we're calling at now. The main purpose of this station is to serve Nice Côte d'Azur Airport, located a 10-minute walk away, the new site being better connected with the Nice tramway and bus lines to the airport. Anyway, as we won't want to miss the stunning views this line has on offer along the French Riviera, let's take a look at the interior of first class here, and the big question is the seat comfortable? Well, yes. Granted, it's not as comfortable as the older co-rail stock these replaced, but the padding and ergonomics here are very good, and the winged headrest is a welcome addition. Who said new train seats have to be terrible? The seats also have foldable armrests on both sides, the one on the window side revealing a standard 2-pin power and USB-A sockets. Strangely no USB-C ones. Below the seat is also a lever where you can operate the manual recline, which works by sliding yourself forwards or backwards once it's pulled. On that note, legroom's fairly decent. The seat pitch is pretty average, but there's space below to stretch out your legs. Provided the footrest is stored away, of course. Solo seats come with a large tray table, which makes it easy to catch up on work or watch movies on a laptop, with there being an elastic band behind this cleverly acting as a storage net. Speaking of which, there's a smaller one just above, which is handy for placing a small device like a phone to catch up on your favourite YouTube videos. Just next to this is a push-out coat hook by the aisle side, and I should probably also mention that to the left of the tray table is a conveniently located small personal bin, with reading lights also being placed on the aisle side of the winged headrest. And last but certainly not least, a draw-down window blind is present, which strangely doesn't go all the way down and merely reduces the glare, but with the beauty of the French Riviera just outside, why would you want it all the way down? To be honest, I was pleasantly surprised by the interior of first class on board the Omneo Premium. I haven't heard good things about the Regio 2N family in general, so it's a positive sight to see these units having a great quality interior for a modern train. The section of this railway line between Nice and Saint-Raphaël is undoubtedly the scenic highlight of taking this train. I rode it several times on this trip, including twice with Transdev, and I was still in awe of the gorgeous coastal landscapes we traversed, especially from the upper deck of the Omneo Premium, another benefit over the previous co-rail stock. The ride quality is also very good at the top line speed, which is limited to 160 km per hour, despite the 200 km per hour capability of the Omneo Premium. As this is an express TER route, we skip most stops that the local trains would otherwise stop at, only calling at the major stops on the Nice to Marseille line. One such stop is Antibes, known for its popular old town, sandy beaches, and the Port Vauban Marina, the largest yachting harbour in Europe. If the coastal views aren't your thing, there's free Wi-Fi available on the Omneo Premium, and this worked pretty well, even in areas where my mobile signal was patchy. This particularly came in handy when the onboard staff came around with QR codes linking to a feedback form for Transdev's performance on the Nice to Marseille line since taking over from SNCF, but you'll have to wait until the end of the video for my final conclusion. Soon enough, the Azure Bay of Cannes comes into view just before we head underground into the city's main station itself. Cannes is a well-known hotspot for the rich and famous, and is also the host of the annual Cannes Film Festival. I really need to visit sometime. You know, when I can actually afford it. After leaving Cannes, the Massif de l'Esterel mountain range we'll soon traverse is in sight just as we pass the Cannes-La Boca TER depot. One thing to note is the Omneo Premium from the Centre Val de Loire region, one of the units Transdev hired from SNCF upon their takeover of the Nice to Marseille route to allow the hourly service frequency as well as for crew training purposes. As we close in on the Massif de l'Esterel, navigating the line towards Saint-Raphael requires the use of many tunnels. This showcases the Omneo Premium's clever feature of the light intensity increasing whilst in these tunnels and reverting to normal once exiting, though this does make it feel more like a dentist's office. Just before passing Onteor on the approach to Saint-Raphael, we cross the stunning 123 metre long Onteor viaduct dating back to 1862, which endured 11 destruction attempts during World War II prior to its partial demolition in 1944. The viaduct we're on now being a post-war restoration effort, forming an integral part of the railway along the French Riviera. As we arrive into Saint-Raphael, a small problem.
Merci d'avoir patienté. En effet, il y avait des personnes qui étaient en train de se battre en gare de Saint-Raphaël, en plein milieu des voies. Voilà. Merci d'avoir patienté. On repart tout de suite pour se remettre à quai correctement.
Our train had to make an emergency stop a few yards before the main platform area owing to trespassers on the line, and after around 10 minutes, the train finally makes the station call for passengers to board and alight. It's certainly busy today. Much of the scenery past Saint-Raphael leaves very little to be desired, so let's now do a walkthrough. Second class on the Omneo Premium is laid out in a 2x2 configuration, again with more airline than table seats, but more narrow seats than what you'll find in first. The lower deck looks like this, and it's safe to say getting a seat at this stage of the trip will be pretty difficult. As mentioned earlier, the lead driving vehicle is where you'll find the dedicated space for those with reduced mobility, as well as the accompanying accessible toilet, which was fortunately kept clean throughout the trip. Something I often struggle to see on most SNCF TER services. The same could also be said for the standard toilet found in one of the intermediate door carriages, which, given its location, is surprisingly spacious. Bicycle storage is also found in one of these carriages, which is free to use and available on a first-come first-served basis, though it seems more people care to use it as additional luggage space rather than for bikes, but to be honest, I don't really blame them in a way. Unlike the single-decker co-rails, overhead luggage storage on the Omneo Premium is pretty poor given it's a double-decker train, though there are plenty of larger racks throughout the train to compensate for this, given this is a popular tourist train. One unique thing that Transdev have done is introduce a vending machine as a form of onboard catering, which you normally wouldn't find on TER services in other French regions operated by SNCF. It's fairly easy to use and available in multiple languages too. I went for a peach iced tea for now, and if you want to see the menu for yourself, I've linked it in the description below. Our last stop before Marseille is Toulon, the third most populous city on the French Riviera after Nice and Marseille respectively, with a population of over 580,000 people, and as we get further coastal views of the Mediterranean Sea heading towards Marseille, it's time to reflect. Overall, I do think that Transdev have done a great job in making improvements to this key route, despite the initial hiccups experienced with unit availability, which thankfully seems to have been resolved now. The new Omneo Premiums and service frequency are both positive steps forward, and it's great to see France's local and Intercity lines getting more attention after many years of being sidelined in favour of the TGV. However, as someone who grew up watching the failing privatisation of railway lines in the UK, I'm not really sure how successful this will be in the long run, as more line operation contracts are tendered and awarded, particularly as focus shifts to the major and profitable lines such as this one. I guess time will tell on that front. I was travelling using my first class Interrail pass on this trip, which Transdev still accepts on the Nice to Marseille route, given it still falls under the overall zoo umbrella with reservations not being compulsory, so I just boarded and took an available seat. Prices from Nice to Marseille cost €40.80 in second class and €61.20 in first class, which to be honest is way too expensive for a 2.5 hour trip, especially as the TGV is often cheaper when booked in advance between the two cities. Despite the delay earlier at Saint-Raphael, we arrive into Marseille Saint-Charles 2 minutes early at 14:01, just in time for lunch. Over to you now. What did you think of Transdev's takeover of the Nice to Marseille route? Have you tried it yet, and if you haven't, has this video convinced you to give it a go? Let me know in the comments. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please like, hype and share it if you did to aid the channel's growth, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications for more content such as this weekly. Those of you who have already been subscribed to me for a while will know why I'm in Marseille, and will also know that it's heavily delayed, so I'm off to enjoy the city until it's time to head off again. For now though, thanks so much for coming with me on this trip, and I look forward to bringing you with me on my next one.